most Nigerians are still reacting to the approval by the Federal Executive Council over 3 billion naira for the supply and installation of customized explosive and narcotic detection screening systems for 5 international airports across the country. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, made the announcement on Monday while briefing a State House correspondent. He added that the screening systems would disallow travelers from having their bag open for manual checks.
Since I came to office, we have been inundated with complaints of the harrowing experience or experiences that passengers go through at the airports where they have to physically search their bags. I'm sure you all know about that, and it's been really getting under the skin of Nigerians. You see various agencies lined up, NDLA say, open your bag, Immigration, open your bag, Customs, open your bag, EFCC, open your bag, and they will dipping their hands in your bag. And, so we thought we should do something like you have the TSA in America, where you have detection machines. So when they pass through your machine, your bags through the machines, it detects explosives or any other thing, and that's the end of the search. And so it's for the approval of the award of contract for the supply and installation of customized explosive and narcotics detection screening systems with remote and dual view for the international airports of Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, and Enugu.
Also, Keyamo kicked against the agreement that the immediate past administration of the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, signed with Ethiopian Airlines on the proposed national carrier Nigerian Air. The minister, who said the agreements of the deals were unfair to Nigerian Airlines, noted that it would be irresponsible for the federal government to follow through on deals that give monopoly of Nigeria's aviation industry to a foreign entity. More so, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority has suspended all wet-leased aircraft in the fleet of United Nigerian Airlines after an Abuja-bound flight landed in Asaba over the weekend. The airline said the flight was diverted to Asaba due to poor destination weather. However, according to independent newspaper, sources from the NCAA revealed that the dispatch error by one of the flight dispatchers of the airline led to the diversion. The source claimed that the reports received from the air traffic controller contradicted the claim of the airline. So joining us now on the morning show is Chris Aligbe, a foremost aviation expert, Chief Executive Officer of Baluji Consult, former Senior Press Secretary to the Minister, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Great to have you, sir, the legend in this field, I would like to ask you that what's your take on this, narcotics scanner, this new scanner? Some arguments have been going on in the studios here that don't we have something of this nature in our airports already as we speak? What's the difference between this? Because anything with government, you have to look carefully.
Thank you, Rufai. Thank you, Doc. I think that, one, I don't think we have that kind of scanner that we make sure that your baggage passes through without the officials, whether immigration, whether the SS, to be convinced that all is well with the baggage for now. But I tell you this, we are too quick at jumping into conclusions. I think what Bishop Kuka called unprocessed emotion. Yeah. People jump into it once you hear this. We don't even know that the cost of that scanner. I tell you, I just traveled recently. I went to Hawaii, and we're passing through an airport. The screening machine I was passing through, I wanted to bring out my laptop, and the man said, no, you don't need your laptop. I wanted to remove my shoes. He said, no, you don't need to remove your shoe. This machine does not allow you to go with it. On my right was another scanning machine. Everybody was removing his or her laptop from the bag, shoes. So when I came back, I called the director of safety in FAN. I called him and said, look, what is happening? This is what happened, this is what happened. He told me that, yes, that machine came out during the COVID, after the COVID, and that it was too expensive for African countries. So they say they will stay with machines they have today, because that one machine is very, very expensive. That's why they cannot put it in most of the airports. So you have different scanning machines, and that's what it is. So I have not seen, that was the first time I was seeing this type of scanning machine. I didn't see it before, and we don't have that scanning machine here. Even other airports I passed through, even in the US, it was just only the one in Hawaii that I saw happen. But other places in the US, you had to remove our shoes, remove our watches, remove our belts, and this thing. It was only that machine. So there are many different machines. I do not know the one the Honorable Minister wants to buy. But the truth of it is that in many countries, nobody searches your baggage anymore. Once it goes through the machine, it comes out, you take it. If there is any suspicion, they will stop you and pull you aside. But not that you come, everybody open your bag and decide. So that is the situation. We don't know the cost of machine, but we don't have it in this country. So I won't quickly jump to talking about the machine, criticizing it or discussing about the cost, because we don't have that machine and we don't have the details. So that's my take on that. Until we see the machine and we see its function, and then we can compare. We can look at what happens all the other places of the world, and then we can come to say, yes, this is true, this is too expensive, or this is not too expensive. But I'm happy that it's going to be placed in all the international airports. We have 5 of them for now. Maiduguri is not functioning now because every zone in this country has an international airport. That's what Aviation 2020 has said, that every region, every zone should have one international airport.
Well, you are right. We don't know the details of the scanners. But what we know is that the Federal Executive Council has approved a sum of 3.23 billion naira for the purchase of those scanners for the 5 airports. Yesterday, the minister met with heads of agencies, focusing on what he called issues of safety in the light of some incidents that we have had in recent times. Aircraft going off the runway in Ibadan, complaints about the absence of landing systems in many of our airports. Another airport going off the tarmac, the runway in Port Harcourt. Another aircraft losing its tail wing. Then another one landing in Asaba when it was supposed to go to Abuja. And the allegation is that the pilot was given a different flight direction. Now, you see, safety is important, fine. And that there will also be sanctions if negligence is established anywhere among the various agencies. Do you think that this is just mere window dressing? And apart from meeting with the heads of the agencies, as someone who is in the industry, as a minister, even taking time out to meet generally with stakeholders within the industry before all these pronouncements about changing locations and threatening to sack people and all of that? Has there been the consultative opportunity or forum, if you like?
Yes, Ruben, I will tell you, we had one recently in Lagos where the minister came, stakeholders, a lot of it was, the hall was packed full, and we discussed the issues about aviation. A lot of people, comments and contributions from the trial. It was open, it was free. It was a good meeting, I would say, in terms of attendance, in terms of people contributing. After that was when he said, okay, he was taking all the issues to a retreat in Warri. He took the heads of parastatals to a retreat in Warri. So I can confirm that he has held one stakeholders meeting where we discussed many of these things. But the issues in aviation are so many that you need a whole lot of meetings to discuss and to find out exactly what the situation is. Particularly when coming in there, you are not grounded on issues of aviation. You need to take a lot. And I think there's also something that is we should be very critical on this issue. Identify people in the industry who know the specific areas you want to address. You see, there are so many lanes, like a field. If somebody who is firm in security cannot tell you anything about airports, about airlines, if he comes there, he will just give you a wishy-washy answer. There are those, if you are talking about security and safety, the number one person in this country is Shegu Demure. But you can do, we are lucky today at the seat of NCAA, we have a regulator, Otrantu. Nuhu was in IKO. So he has regulations inside out and what should be done in terms of safety and regulation in the country, in our country. You also have one doctor, this Egbadon. These are people in security. If you go to the airport, Ruben, there are people who are specific. Yadudu, Richard Aishobegu, Fortune Idu, and what. Sort these people out. You can have 4 or 5 persons meeting. Tick this thing. It's not a rabble-rousing thing that you have a whole lot of stakeholders. Everybody stands up and says this or says that. That's one. So I think it should be much more intentional in addressing some of these issues, taking advice from people.
I'd like to ask, what's happening to the aviation sector? Because a lot of Nigerians are concerned. Recently, a journalist, David Omude, has been doing some extensive work and making some firm revelations. I mean, he was the one that also made the revelation hitherto as regards, the happenings in the aviation sector, water and everything, decadence, now this United Airline incident, Hadi Sirika's incident in Nigeria. I mean, many revelations, and it's a series about the aviation sector. And people are wondering, are we going back to the days of Sosolisos and all of that? Is that what is happening? A plane skidded off the runway. Today we don't have appropriate landing devices and all of that. My colleague, Ojinika, was telling me how, she wanted to land in the Asaba airport and she had to hover for a while. What is really going on? Because these things are one too many.
Well, Rufai, you are worried as much as we are worried. We are worried as much as we are worried for the simple fact that, yes, all is not well with our industry. Quite some giant strides have been made. I'm happy you see the way new airlines on the block, they're acquiring new aircraft. It's no longer the days of Sosoliso and the rest of them, where we had back 111, where we have aged aircraft and this. But I think the professionals of yesterday appear to have been much more diligent than those who are managing today. I say appear, so that I don't come on a categorical thing. But there are people we know. The thing is that people in the industry today should sit and learn. What happened with Lagos, Asaba, instead of Abuja is complete. Is something that you really don't have not heard of before. But it's going to say capacity. When we talk about capacity in the industry, people think it's the aircraft, the number of. It is not. The first is knowledge capacity. If you don't have a knowledge capacity, you are not on.
Capacity is in a deplorable state in the aviation industry. An institutional memory, because there are not too many people like you any longer. We have clear institutional memory, and also practitioners now knowledge capacity. Do you think it's at an all-time low?
It's very low. I can't tell you that. It's not. Let's not be arrogant. But you see, we took our time. Some of us took our time to learn the ropes. Like I told you, I can tell you a whole lot of people who were there. Like I said, like the Murrays, they are there. They are encyclopedia in their various areas. But what you find today is that somebody's area, special area, is maybe security or maybe airline operation. But you will call him, he will give you every story about all parts of the industry and give impression that I know very much about this industry. It is not true. There are various areas, and so it will be good when such areas, when things come like that, get the people who know. That's my advice to the Honorable Minister. I think he means well. That's what I think.
Okay, Mr. Aligbe, the United Airlines matter. The airline says the main issue was weather, and it was the weather that took a plane going to Abuja to Asaba. I don't know whether that's how the weather works in aviation. But some people have also said it happened in the UK about 2 years ago, where an aircraft landed in the wrong airport. I just hope that one of these days, an aircraft will not go and land inside the Atlantic Ocean because of weather. But let me ask you, was Nigeria Air one of the issues that came up at the forum that stakeholders had with the minister in Lagos? Because what industry persons were saying previously was that the minister was interested and was going to go ahead with the deal with Ethiopian Airlines. But now, a few weeks later, he seems to have changed his mind, quoting more or less the same line that the airline operators of Nigeria, have been quoting, which is to say that it will be counterproductive to have a foreign airline operating on domestic routes and carrying the flag for Nigeria. What are the details in this regard? Is it a case of the minister now listening to domestic airlines?
Dr. Vati, well, let me tell you the truth. I refrain from engaging ministers because you don't know what they know. You don't have the information they have. But particularly, more critically, the present minister was a full member of the last cabinet that approved everything about Nigerian Air. So if probably at that time, within the last cabinet, he has issues he didn't raise, and it is now time for him to raise it, I wouldn't know. But the fact of the matter is that the narrative, maybe he has a right to his opinion. Everybody has a right to in the industry. But I think that narrative is not foreign airlines having monopoly. There is no such thing. If he's an investor in a Nigerian carrier, is an investor in Nigerian carrier, just like we have investors in other places. Maybe those who are investing in Guinness, who invested in some other places, they are investors. And if it's an investor, why are you talking about them as if it is they are coming in here? They're not doing cabotage. People give you interest. Oh, cabotage. Cabotage. No airline, no foreign airline is doing cabotage in this country. None. It is outlawed. In fact, ICAO IATA has said this is a freedom, 8th and 9th freedom. That's cabotage. When a foreign airline can come, carry passengers from Lagos, go to Abuja, drop them and fly passengers domestic from Abuja back to Lagos. That's cabotage. That's for domestic operation. But when people say, oh, an airline comes into Abuja and Abuja it goes to Port Harcourt, the airline can make that technique. So carry passengers from London, drop in Abuja. He has passengers going to Port Harcourt. He leaves Abuja, goes to Port Harcourt, drops them. He picks passengers going to London. Not going to Abuja, going to London from Port Harcourt, and then picks passengers from Abuja, going to London. We did it when we were in Nigeria Airways. We will fly passengers from London, land in Lagos. We still have passengers going to Port Harcourt. We will leave this thing and go to Port Harcourt. That's not cabotage. You see, knowledge is poor in the industry. People come here and give you all sorts of things. I have people saying, oh, the idea of national carrier is moribund. Is no longer there. Please, when they come, when you see them, let them give you all the airlines in Africa. Only about two are national flag carriers. You see, 100%, the original, this is 100% ownership. Most African airlines are still on 100% government ownership, except Tunis Air, I think Tunisia, not Royal Maroc, and Kenya Airways. Those are the things that have brought in private sector, foreign investors into it, but government still holds certain percentage. That's what has happened. They tell you no longer happen. It's over 30 years since Thatcher privatized British Airways over 30 years. Air France.
British Caledonian then.
No, it was British Airways. British Airways took over from BCAL.
BCAL, yeah.
Yes, British Airways was the one part when Thatcher appointed Lord King and Colin Marshall for the privatization. It's over that. Which other European airline has fully privatized? None. KLM is, the Dutch government still has 11%. In KLM. France has still 11% in Air France. Air France. Lufthansa is one that is a critical. Lufthansa, the government still has a stronghold because during COVID, Lufthansa asked for money for funding. The government says, we will not give you free fund. They bought 6% of a Lufthansa for 300 and something million. After COVID, they sold it back to 1 billion and 40 euros. That's what they did. So they have at any point time to intervene in that airline. So that is that. People come and tell you, national carrier, make a different private carrier, make a different from a private carrier that is owned by one person or a family, from a private carrier that is on the stock where you can buy shares.
But the argument, sir, is that it's not always what you're talking about Nigeria. You remember what happened to Nigeria here? How these same people ate Nigeria hair, like they were just eating it like momo.
Which Nigeria hair?
I mean, Nigerian Airways, even Nigeria, even Virgin Nigeria, that came after it. Nigerian Airways, after Nigerian Airways, Virgin Nigeria that came after it. We all saw the mismanagement. So it looks as though anything government puts its hand in, corruption eats it up and die. Okay, let's backtrack. Where is Nitel today? Nitel was eaten by people. Show me one government company that, apart from NLNG, that's an outlier because of the share agreement structure. Show me one government company. Where is the sugar company today? Where's everything? So that's what people are saying. When Nigerian Airways was on Nigerian Airways, they had better fleets. Even the likes of all the airlines in Dubai and Qatar, they had not even started then. But we also the mismanagement that ate it all off. That's why people are saying we should not just get our hands muddled up in this.
No, let me tell you. I told them when we were talking about national carrier, we wrote to a lot of people. I say, if anybody sets up an airline like Nigeria Airways with that equity holding of government, I will carry a placard against it because it will never work. We do not have what it takes to run such a thing. But 5% of government equity is enough. 5% equity is, I've told you about Air France, 11% equity, I've told you about King. Those things are for sovereign cover because they operate outside the country, they operate internationally.
So the also other arguments, why can't they now use local carriers here? I mean, you're having carriers like Air Peace going to have partnership with government of Antigua and some other countries to be able to do the same array. Why can't we use our own local airlines here? Government has a couple of airlines. What's it called? ARIC is under administration from government. Why can't we use our own local airlines to do it? Why are we going to Ethiopia? If Ethiopia government has not built Ethiopia Air, are we going to see them to use?
Rufai, let me tell you, before you can put a sovereign right on any organization, all the books must be open. You must know the source of funds. Everything must be open. If you can't put it, and no individual, no person globally, even if you do it outside, you will not be recognized because any airline coming into a country, they do due diligence. Who are the owners? Who is behind this? Who is behind this? Before ever, we had it when Okada wanted to go to London. He had a right in the 90s. British authorities did a due diligence and brought out 6 reasons why you cannot come. So when we are playing internationally, there are standards. If today they go to stock, if today they go to the stock market, their shares are open and everything, then Nigerians begin to buy. So you see, sovereignty belongs to the citizen. When we, all of us, buy shares in any company that is international, we transfer that our sovereign right to that. So it becomes sovereignty. But as an individual, as a family, no.
I get your point, Mr. Aligbe. But let's talk about aeropolitics. I had Mr. Roland, Captain Roland Iyayi on another program, This the Line, on Sunday. And he was talking about aeropolitics. That there's a lot of politics in this aviation sector, particularly in terms of how bilateral services agreements are operationalized, how frequencies are shared, and we've seen some examples. One, Saudi Airlines came here, took people, full complement, was allowed to land. Nobody talked about people not having visa. It was Lagos to, or Nigeria to Saudi Arabia flight. When Air Peace went there, they said most of the people on Air Peace didn't have a visa, and they reduced this thing. When Air Peace was going to the UAE, it didn't enjoy the same frequency or the same choice airports as Emirates Airlines. British Airways comes into Nigeria almost every day, carrying people to and fro. Which Nigerian airline is allowed to get into UK like that and go to Heathrow, which the Saudis, by the way, are going to buy 15%, from another investor. So you are right. Nigeria too should start buying things all over the place. After all, it's the same oil wealth that Saudi Arabia is using that we also have. Why can't we use our own sovereign fund constructively? So just talk to us about this aeropolitics and why the Nigerian airlines are always being shortchanged, and the Nigerian government is not doing anything to support our own airlines.
Thank you, Ruben. There's aeropolitics. No doubt about that. But every issue that happens internationally is not aeropolitics. When you make mistakes, it's not aeropolitics. When we're going to London, when I was in Nigeria Airways, we were charged so many times about inadmissible passengers. Sometimes our passengers will get into the flight, they tore their passports, and when they go, they say, "No, I have no passport." We were fined for every passenger 1,000 pounds for every passenger that so landed. Some of them at the time, some of them were sent back on our flight and were charged. So that's not let me tell you, we were here when UAE, I was in your program, when UAE denied Air Peace, this thing. And I said we should match it. I said it should be reciprocity absolute. Yeah, I was in that, and I said because that was, and luckily the government went into it, because when you see that everything is a quid pro quo, if the same condition that exists, then you apply your own this thing. But look, the Saudi Arabian thing, I say again, when we were in Nigeria, we had a protocol, somebody who was in charge of visa. He would tell you the type of visa that you require. You can't go to US with a student visa and take other right, or go with a visiting visa and become a student. It's not acceptable. So visas have their various categories. What is not that these people didn't have visa from what I learned, because when it happened, I called one of my colleagues in Riyadh. I said, "What's the situation?" He said, "There are two types of visa. There is hard visa. It's specific, and there's visa for visiting, for business, for tourism. You cannot use one for the other." That's what they said.
But those visas were checked before the flight took off from Nigeria.
Who checked it?
No, the report said that's the standard procedure. That's the protocol.
No. You see, who checked
Not
it?
at this end, from the other end.
No. From which end?
From Riyadh.
From Riyadh.
Yes. And those visas were cleared as good enough, and that the persons were good enough to fly.
Let me tell you the truth is that I don't know. People tell you a whole lot of stories. That's this. When it happened, because I told them, before I say anything, I will call somebody, because we have relationship. I call somebody in Riyadh. I say, "What is happening? This is what is just happened." That is as it happened. He gave me the information. That is a visa issue. I do not know whether Saudi Arabian flight, where Saudi flew people with the same type of visa and they were accepted. I have my doubts. Immediately you get to the immigration point, immediately you looked at it, you say, Kalas, it's over. You are not going anywhere. They will throw you back, or they will put you where you will not until the next flight comes. So I don't know. But the truth of it is that we should be a little bit careful on processed emotion, like Bishop Kuka said, because if we keep doing this, we will start injuring the airline itself. Because when you start talking about airline and this in the news, oh, he did this, this is not what, this is aero politics, you draw attention, global attention to it. We should not damage our airlines.
On that note, thank you very much, Mr. Chris Aligbe, for joining us on the morning show.